It looks different, it looks kind of cool.
Every major car company in the world is going to be bringing out electric cars in the next 3 years.
Petrol heads, your worst nightmare is on the starting grid. It's Australia's first fully electric car in 5 and squeezy 4-seater models, and they'll cut your fuel bills by 75%.
It's like learning how to drive again. It's crazy.
Our motoring expert Sam Stevens got an exclusive look at the new kid on the no-engine block.
I think both of us are in for a bit of a learning experience here.
This will be different. Which is what you'd expect when you pop the petrol cap to find this. But it will put the brakes on your petrol bills. Its makers claim $3 worth of power will push you along for at least 100 k's. The equivalent in a similar sized car would set you back $12 in petrol.
The thing you need to consider is whether the infrastructure will be available to have a car like this running for more than 100 k's if you needed to do it.
Somebody's thought of that too.
An electric car will be just like a normal car. It'll just be faster, quieter, cheaper and greener.
Evan Thornley runs Better Place, a company that'll ease the transition to zero emissions.
We actually buy the battery for you. We buy all the electricity. We give you all of the plug-in points to plug your car in at home, at work, at the shopping centre, wherever. Battery swapping stations if you're on a long drive. And you just pay us one monthly bill, which is the same or less than what you're currently paying for petrol.
Now that'll lessen the shock for first-timers like me.
You happy for me to drive?
I think you have to. You've got to feel this is really, really strange.
That weird?
Yep.
I look forward to it.
I'm behind the wheel of the 4-seater.
I'm blown away by that power. What about you?
Some electric cars have come a long way quickly. Like the American-built Tesla Roadster, from stop to 100 quicker than a Ferrari, but its purchase price of $200,000 would pay for a lot of petrol. The Alfa Lujo's aimed at an entirely different market.
This is something that is no-brainer.
Company chief William Tien says the Chinese-built car will use some Australian parts within the year.
What is it about this car that should make it attractive to a car buyer?
I think the most important, number one, is price. And number two is the range and reliability.
But you've got to get the punters in the showrooms first, and that's where this bloke comes in.
First of all, you want them to see it and say, wow, I want to go over and learn more about this car.
Phil Smoot's the design chief whose job is to sex up the car's appearance for an Aussie market, and he's got good form.
Commodore, a new Holden. So advanced it'll challenge all your ideas about Australian cars.
Phil headed up the original Commodore design team in the 1970s.
This is a spacious driving environment for passenger and driver alike, with headroom and legroom to spare.
It's not going to be one of these cars when you look at it and say, wow, this thing is going to rocket off at 200 kilometres an hour. It's not, but it's got to be appropriate, and it's got to be cuddly, that people want to say, oh, I want to associate with that. I want to I must have one of those as a second or third car.
At least we know how much greening up the planet will cost.
If you were to talk about price for a car like this, it's $18,000. For the 5-seater, it's $25,000. How does that compare to the petrol or the diesel-driven variety?
As with anything these days, you are paying for the technology, and this is pretty new technology, and you're paying a premium for the ability to use a plug instead of a petrol pump. You will save on filling up a tank, but at the same time, this is more expensive than your normal standard hatchbacks.
Just remember the limitations.
A city runabout and possibly sort of learner and P-plate drivers, particularly since you can't really stall it. You're driving something that's basically a golf cart with a gearbox.